what about these internet about you reuniting with Aaron? Is that something you would be open to, amenable to, if this had happened this offseason? If the Jets offered a package big enough to satisfy the Raiders' need, and you be reunited with Aaron, would that have been something you'd have been open to?
Well, I'll answer it like this: if I'm gonna be reunited with anybody, it would be Aaron.
Okay,
but or be, relocated and be anywhere, it would be with Aaron. But that's not really my. There's a lot of that stuff going on last year in the media, and them asking, well, what are you going to do about this? Are you thinking about going here? And they talk about whatever without me even being involved in it. And it ended up getting all the way to the point where it got in the locker room, and people was thinking that it was, I was the driving force. And I'm like, y'all just don't understand, man. Like, when I hate to say it like this because it makes me sound like I'm trying to put myself on a pedestal, but when you're a certain level of player, you don't have to come from you, and it most oftentimes is not coming from you. And I'm not the type of person that I enjoy going and putting that type of stuff out there when I'm actively on the Raiders.
Right.
What do I look like sitting here talking to other people about being on another team?
Right.
And that's how I still feel about it right now.
I hate it here. I want to go home.
Whoa, Davante Adams once out of Las Vegas. Color me shocked. Just kidding. That was an unexpected move for Davante Adams. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Davante Adams demanding a trade from the Las Vegas Raiders. Remember, there should be plenty of suitors that will be interested in the services of Davante Adams. With Davante Adams being on the backside of his prime years, he's going to want to win a Super Bowl sooner rather than later. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So, here it is. Where will Davante Adams get traded to? Honestly, there are going to be plenty of good options for Davante Adams to join. There's probably at least 20 teams that could use a Davante Adams on their roster right now. But realistically speaking, there's probably only about 4 to 5 legitimate contenders for the services of Davante Adams. You're probably thinking about teams such as the Jets, the Steelers, the Commanders, and the Bills. I've also heard the Cowboys be in the running for Davante Adams, even though I'm not really sure how the Cowboys could even trade for Davante Adams, to be honest, because they've already paid up CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. They got contract problems right now with Micah Parsons. If you trade for Davante Adams, you're basically trading draft picks for a rental player at that position. So if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I'm probably not going to go ahead and trade for Davante Adams, considering the fact that I have many other needs to deal with on the defense. The New York Jets are an enticing option for Davante Adams because they've got Aaron Rodgers. Davante Adams used to be teammates with Aaron Rodgers. In fact, Davante Adams had his best years in the NFL with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. So obviously there's a mutual connection there. Aaron Rodgers might be thinking in his head, I might have a chance to get Davante Adams via trade. Let me go ahead and try to team up with him, knowing that my best years came with him at the wide receiver 1 position. But I don't think the New York Jets are going to be able to get Davante Adams via trade, because the New York Jets are not going to be willing to pay up money to get Davante Adams on their squad. I don't necessarily think the New York Jets are one wide receiver away from going back to the Super Bowl. I don't believe Davante Adams is going to get traded to the New York Jets, so I'm going to go ahead and rule them out. So who does that leave? That leaves the Steelers, Bills, and Commanders. Although the Steelers need a wide receiver, I don't think they're going to necessarily trade for Davante Adams, mainly because of the fact that they're not really known for getting great wide receivers via trade. And we know Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, they're all about running the football and playing good defense. Although Davante Adams is a talented football player, do you really think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to invest draft picks in trading for a wide receiver? They're the kind of organization that would rather develop a day 2 receiver compared to trading for an established star in Davante Adams and also Justin Fields as their quarterback. The Steelers are not going to be one of those teams that's going to want to throw the ball 40 times a game. They're probably going to want to limit those pass attempts to about 20 to 25 pass attempts a game, and they're going to run the ball about 30 to 40 times a game. Would Davante Adams really be willing to play in that kind of offense? And also remember this as well. If the Pittsburgh Steelers get Davante Adams, they're not necessarily Super Bowl contenders. They would definitely be playoff contenders for sure, but they're already playoff contenders without Davante Adams. Getting a player like Davante Adams is not going to necessarily help the Pittsburgh Steelers out, which really leaves 2 teams left, which is the Buffalo Bills and the Washington Commanders as the teams that could acquire Davante Adams via trade. Before I break down those 2 teams though, I want to talk about how Davante Adams also values playing for a black head coach as well. Obviously, I don't think the Patriots are going to trade for Davante Adams, but he also also noted the significance of having Jerod Mayo on the Patriots coaching staff. I found what Davante Adams said to be rather interesting. He talked about the value of having a black head coach on the coaching staff and how certain cities are more likely to have white coaches compared to black coaches. He said this during an interview. Roll the film.
We've been honest. I think that depending on the location of the team makes that a bigger deal.
What do you mean?
Like a black head coach on the Patriots is going to be much bigger, in my mind at least, than putting a black head coach on the Raiders as far as the way it's perceived. And the same would go for Green Bay. I think that's just kind of the nature of it. It's not necessarily
that's
like
actually nice that you say that.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's just the way that it is. Some of the teams are not. It's not looked at as like there's any racism attached to it or anything like that. No negative connotations, but it's more of like just the history that's been there.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
I thought Davante Adams talked entirely too much about race in that conversation, but I do find it interesting in terms of what he values, because the Patriots are not really a wide receiver away from contending in the NFL playoffs. The Patriots right now are in rebuilding mode, and Davante Adams wants to join a team that is in win now mode, so that's not going to be a choice for Davante Adams. Obviously, the Buffalo Bills, they need a wide receiver one right now. They don't really have a true wide receiver one. Maybe it's Keon Coleman down the line, but he's a rookie wide receiver, and he's not the second coming of Justin Jefferson, which tells me the Buffalo Bills need to acquire a wide receiver. Obviously, they lost Stephon Diggs in the offseason via trade, so if the Buffalo Bills can find a way to replace Stephon Diggs with Davante Adams, that would be one hell of a trade. I don't necessarily see it happening though, because the Buffalo Bills cap space is pretty tight right now. Davante Adams is a pretty expensive player, and the Bills don't really have that kind of money to pay up for Davante Adams right now, which means the Buffalo Bills are going to have a tough time making the numbers work for Davante Adams. I would love to think about Davante Adams on the Buffalo Bills, but I'm not banking on that happening whatsoever, which means the team that would trade for Davante Adams is the Washington Commanders. That's right, I got the Washington Commanders getting Davante Adams. It makes perfect sense for both sides. The Commanders right now have plenty of cap space. They have the numbers to make it work salary cap wise, and obviously we know how Davante Adams feels about Jayden Daniels. I talked about this last Wednesday and how Davante Adams wished Jayden Daniels was his quarterback. Obviously, I can't blame Davante Adams for wanting to play with Jayden Daniels, because Jayden Daniels is an electrifying player. He's probably going to end up being the best quarterback in this draft class, if not the second best quarterback in this draft class. The future is bright for Jayden Daniels on the Washington Commanders. If you're the Commanders, you go ahead and give up a second round pick and maybe a future second round pick as well. Maybe 2 second round picks should do the deal for the Raiders and Commanders. If they go ahead and pull this off, this is going to make the Washington Commanders contenders in the NFC, and they're going to have a wide receiver duo of Terry McLaurin and Davante Adams. That's pretty good if you ask me. They already got a good running back in Brian Robinson Jr., and of course they've got Jayden Daniels at the quarterback position. That offensive core is going to be pretty solid if they can go ahead and find a way to get Davante Adams, and the Raiders should be motivated to trade Davante Adams to the Washington Commanders, because the Commanders play in the NFC while the Raiders play in the AFC, which means you get to send away a talented player to a different conference altogether, so you don't necessarily have to deal with contending against a team led by Davante Adams. Ultimately, I find the Commanders to be the best fit for Davante Adams on paper. The future is bright, so that is why Davante Adams will get traded to the Commanders, as they are both a natural fit for each other. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I'm going to shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @DustinNashTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinNashTran, and that's Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinNashTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.